I've spent 20 years trying to figure out how to summon creativity on demand. I think that the first thing that I realized was, I had a very kind of different childhood. I'm a second generation creative director. Most kids had a paper route. I grew up in the basement of my parents' house with like a 3,000-pound cast iron letterpress. There are these hideously embarrassing photos of me with like a little apron on the feed table. Kindergarten was very confusing why other kids didn't self-publish their own storybooks. But it was one of those things where I very quickly realized that there was never a class on how to have an idea. It's that concept of a light bulb. You go through and the clouds part and it rains champagne and puppies, and all of a sudden, you've got this brilliant idea and this big clap of thunder. And that never happens that way. Ideas, great ideas, are a lot of work. You have to know what your true north is. You have to know what it is that you stand for. You have to know what drives you, what inspires you. I tend to pull those inspirations from a lot of different places, a lot of different perspectives. There's a friend of mine who's a tattoo artist, and I love, really talking to him about what's his process like of whenever you have to do a piece of art that you get one shot at and is going to be on somebody's body for the rest of their life. I tend to seek out a lot of the world's best chefs to have conversations with them about how do they go from that process of, really creating, coming up with a new dish, to really just the rote execution of being in the restaurant and doing that same dish day after day after day. And how do they do that? Because I see a lot of parallels between the design world that I'm in and that world. Being a great creative director is about, really being able to sell, being able to motivate a team, being able to inspire. You have to have a very clear expectation of what do you want from your team, which I think can be very hard. And because in a lot of environments, it's very easy to just simply float around and go with the tide. I think to be a strong creative leader, you have to clearly stand for something. You also then have to be prepared for the fact that when you stand for it, people can judge you on it. I think that you have to invest in your team, so wholeheartedly, to understand what their process is, to understand, what is it that they need to grow. They want to know that the work they do tomorrow is better than the work that they do today. They want to know that whenever there's a problem, that I'm going to be there to support them. But they also really know that I'm going to be there to challenge them. We went in and we redesigned the Westin Hotel's website. It was a very kind of standard hotel website. And we went in and looked at this and said, the brand's core positioning was really about this is how it should feel. And one of the things that we realized paid that off the best was to take the concept of like a full bleed image and bring it onto the website. Well, to be able to take, such a huge revenue generating site and to be able to say we want to take all of this critical business functionality and to be able to collapse it down, took a lot of really hard thinking on our part to make sure that all of our bases were covered. But it also, took for the fact that our clients trusted us to be able to do something that was so different than any hotel site had done before, and ended up being a great success. We're trying to get our clients to trust us and have confidence in us. That I'm going to walk into a room, I'm going to lay out a problem, and that I'm going to walk through all the ways that this creative solution is going to solve that problem. If I do it right, and if I do it in a way that, you look at what it is that I'm proposing, and you trust in my vision for it, you have confidence that I've thought about all the angles. At that point, the emphasis on the actual visual solution becomes much, much less than normal. And because I think that in a lot of cases, whenever a designer will go in, there isn't that trust, there isn't that confidence. They just kind of go in, they're trying to sell cool, they're just trying to sell a look. What happens is you tend to end up with a client that's like a bull in a china shop. They go in and they start ravaging the design because they're looking for something that they can trust. Good work is the single greatest threat to great work. Whenever you look at great work, it took extra design, it took extra thought. Good is its greatest enemy because good can get the job done. Good work can get sold, good work can get past your client, good work can get past your boss. But to truly get to a great idea, to a game-changing idea, takes so much more work past that to be able to invest the time in understanding your demographic, to be able to invest the time to understand your client, to be able to invest the time to find a great design, to do all the little details that take something from good to great. That's the definition of kind of what blue-collar work is that it's taking the time to absolutely work every detail, the blood, sweat, tears behind that. Ideas are the things that have the lasting value. And I think, if you really center your career and center kind of your ability to be creative, to be somebody who is always about having the best idea, no matter what the medium is, no matter what the technology is, no matter what the execution is, that will weather any storm.